The drama surrounding Sophie Cunningham's injury didn't just shake a game, it ignited one of the most heated debates of the WNBA season. It began with a single collision, a star player dropping to the hardwood in agony, and an image that would go viral within minutes. That image, Bria Hartley grinning as Sophie Cunningham was being helped off the court, became the spark for outrage, suspicion, and accusations that left the entire league under a microscope. It was supposed to be a regular night of basketball. The Indiana Fever had already been bruised by injuries, missing Caitlin Clark with a groin issue and seeing McDonald and Cydney Coulson ruled out for the season. Sophie Cunningham had been the glue, a tough guard who brought leadership, grit, and an edge to a roster fighting to stay afloat. She wasn't just another player on the court, she was a tone setter, which is why, when she crumpled to the floor, after a second quarter collision, it felt like the air had been sucked out of the building. Bria Hartley was driving hard toward the basket, pushing through defenders with her usual intensity. Cunningham slid into position, trying to cut her off. Then came the collision. Hartley's momentum carried straight into Cunningham's right leg, and the impact was immediate. Cunningham clutched her knee before even hitting the floor, collapsing. Invisible pain. Trainers rushed in as she tried to rise, only to fall again, her face twisted in agony. This wasn't a routine foul. This was a season-altering moment, and everyone in the arena knew it. The broadcast caught it all in painful detail. Cunningham leaning heavily on trainers, her arms draped over their shoulders, each step measured and fragile as she limped to the locker room. Fever head coach Stephanie White admitted later her first thought was simply, "Holy shit." Because when you've been around the game long enough, you know the difference between a hard fall and something more sinister. And this looked bad. But the moment that followed shifted the story into something larger than just an injury. Cameras found Hartley in the aftermath, her face lighting up with what looked like a smirk. To viewers at home, it wasn't ambiguous. A player was writhing in pain, her season hanging in the balance, and the opponent who had collided with her seemed to be smiling about it. In seconds, that clip went viral. In hours, it became the defining image of the night. Fans erupted. Indiana. Supporters flooded social media with anger, accusing Hartley not just of recklessness, but of intentional malice. The Cunningham family joined the chorus. Her sister Lindsay blasted the officiating, pointing out the league's tendency to punish players for speaking out while failing to protect them on the floor. Her mother Paula went further, accusing Hartley directly of being out of control, though she later deleted her comments. Still, the message was clear. This wasn't just about a collision, this was about accountability. The referees didn't help matters. They didn't review the play. No flagrant, no technical, not even a long pause to reconsider what had just happened. They simply let the game continue as if nothing extraordinary had taken place. For Fever fans, that felt like insult piled onto injury. Their star had been targeted, their season jeopardized, and the officials turned a blind eye. And for many, Hartley deserved no benefit of the doubt. Her reputation preceded her. This wasn't the first time she had been accused of crossing the line. Earlier in the season, cameras caught her yanking Angel Reese's hair during a rebound. In another heated game, she tangled with Rebecca Allen, sparking a scuffle that led to her ejection. She's had reported dust-ups with Skylar Diggins and others, adding to a pattern of confrontations. One incident might be forgotten, but string them together and a narrative forms. Bria Hartley, the dirty player. That's why the smile cut so deep. If it had been someone else, someone with a clean record, maybe fans would have written it off as adrenaline or nerves or just an unfortunate camera angle. But when it's Hartley, a player already carrying a history of controversial plays, it didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like confirmation. Pundits echoed what fans were saying. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, one commentator raged. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now. Harsh words, but ones that resonated as the clip of her smirking replayed across timelines and highlight shows. Hartley wasn't just involved in a controversial moment, she became the villain. For the Fever, the fallout was devastating. Losing. Cunningham wasn't just about numbers on the stat sheet. She was toughness, leadership, Stability in a season already defined by instability. Without Clark, without McDonald, without Coulson, and now without Cunningham, the team looked paper thin. And they weren't just facing any opponent, they were up against the Connecticut Sun, one of the most physical, battle-tested teams in the league. By the third quarter, Indiana trailed by 21 points. It felt like the night, and maybe their season was finished. But then, something remarkable happened. Out of the chaos, out of the anger, out of the adversity, they fought back. What unfolded over the next 2 quarters wasn't just a comeback. It was the largest comeback in franchise history. The catalyst was Kelsey Mitchell. At halftime, she had just 4 points. Nothing suggested what was about to come. But in the second half, she erupted. Mitchell scored 34 points after the break, finishing with 38 total to tie her career high. She hit 11 of 22 shots, buried 5 threes, and was nearly perfect at the line. Every time the Fever needed a bucket to keep hope alive, Mitchell delivered. And in overtime, she took over completely, scoring Indiana's first 10 points, back-to-back threes included, that silenced the Suns' home crowd and left her teammates believing again. Around her, others rose too. Aaliyah Boston battled through. The paint against Connecticut's bruising frontcourt, finishing with a double-double, 14 points, 13 rebounds, plus 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. She was the anchor, pulling down crucial boards, creating second chances, and giving Mitchell the daylight she needed to keep firing. Odyssey Sims stepped into a bigger role as well, dropping 19 points and 7 assists, orchestrating the offense like a veteran floor general. And then there was Lexi Hull, whose stat line won't turn heads, but whose clutch corner 3 in overtime sealed the game and sent the Fever bench into a frenzy. The final score read 99-93 in overtime, Indiana over Connecticut, a 21-point comeback, the greatest in team history. What should have been remembered as a night defined by injury and controversy instead became a testament to resilience. Inside the Fever locker room, emotion poured out. Stephanie White stood before her players, pride and disbelief in her voice, reminding them that this win wasn't just about basketball, it was about refusing to be counted out, no matter who was missing. Caitlin Clark, watching from afar, tweeted, a short but powerful message, battled, 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 so proud. Sophie Cunningham, despite her own uncertainty, posted simply, Kelsey freaking Mitchell. It was raw, it was real, and it spoke to the bond that held this group together through everything. Cydney Coulson, already out for the season, injected humor into the moment, tweeting, we down to 4 players, but few is it, we ball. It was exactly the kind of levity the team needed after a night like that. And in that blend of grit, pride, and humor, the Fever found their identity. A team that would not break, no matter how much adversity piled on. Still, the controversy couldn't be ignored. Sophie Cunningham's injury loomed over everything. Fans wanted answers. Would the league review Hartley's play? Would there be a suspension? Or would it be another case of reckless behavior going unchecked? The viral smile remained at the center of it all, replayed endlessly as the symbol of disrespect. For many, it wasn't about whether Hartley intended to injure Cunningham. It was about perception, accountability, and the message the league sends when moments like this are allowed to pass without action. That's where this story stands. A player injured, a rival accused, a team that refused to fold and instead pulled off the greatest comeback in its history. The Fever left Connecticut with more than a win. They left with proof that no matter who's in or out, they can survive, they can fight, and maybe, just maybe, they can still find their way to something greater. But the bigger question remains, what happens next? Does the league step in to discipline Hartley? Does Sophie Cunningham's injury derail Indiana's season just as they were finding their fight? And how should the WNBA protect its stars better moving forward? What do you think? Should Bria Hartley face suspension? Was this a dirty play or just an unfortunate collision that looked worse than it was? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Because in this league, drama never takes a night off.